So how can you always perform well on DSE Speaking Part B? It's a really hard challenge. There's not enough time. The examiner gives you the question very quickly and you have to start speaking straight away. The solution is to follow a framework. If you follow a framework, it makes everything else much easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you the framework that I like to follow. It's not the only way you can answer a Part B question, but it's the one that I will do every single time, and it's the one I will always recommend because it is easy, it is effective, and you always will give you an organised response which sounds like you have lots of great ideas, even if you don't have any good ideas at all. So how does the framework work? Well, it's very, very simple. All you do is divide up the 1 minute in your head into 4 parts. Each of these steps is going to be the same regardless of what question you're following, what question you've been given. Hopefully, this framework will allow you to give a solid, effective response to any question the examiner gives you. Step 1. The first thing you need to do is, after you're given the question, you rephrase the question as a statement. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, let's say the examiner asks you, this won't come up, but let's say they say, what is your favourite ice cream? All you do is you change that question into an answer. I would say my favourite ice cream is chocolate, or I don't really have a favourite ice cream. I quite like strawberry and chocolate, something like this. It's a very easy thing to do, but most importantly, it gives you a few seconds to think about the next stage, which is going to be your ideas. So that first 5-10 seconds, all you're doing is rephrasing the question as a statement, as an answer. Instead of, what kind of ice cream do you like? You say something like, I like chocolate ice cream, or something like this. Or I would say, whatever your answer is going to be. That's probably going to take you about 5 to 10 seconds, so about 8 seconds. But if you've done that, it helps your organisation because you've quite clearly begun the answer. But it also is giving you time to think. So that's the first thing I would always do. Do not say, thank you for your question. Do not use a set formulaic phrase. The examiners don't like this. It doesn't help you. You're going to get no extra marks for saying thank you for your question. And the effect in terms of giving you thinking time is exactly the same if you just rephrase the question. So that's what I think you should do first. Step 1, rephrase the question as a statement. After that, step 2 and 3 is very simple. You are going to give points. But how you give these points is really the main part of this approach, this framework. What you're going to do is you're going to have 2 ideas. You don't have to think of them both straight away. When I'm doing it, I normally think of the second one right before I say it. But you're going to have 2 ideas, and you're going to say the first one until the timer gets to about 30 seconds. And then, even if you have more to say, you wrap it up, you finish, and you move on to the next point. Then, you give another point, starting from about 30 seconds, until there's about 10 seconds left. So each one is going to be about 20 seconds long. Now you may be saying, why don't I just talk about one idea? If I've got things to say, why don't I just keep talking? Well, there are a few reasons for this. First, if you have 2 ideas, It makes it sound to the examiner like your ideas are quite organised. You're moving through a process. So it's going to help your organisation. But the main reason is it's just the effect of finishing before you run out of ideas. If you say lots of your ideas and then you move on, you conclude and move on with ideas left, your response is going to sound very developed, very organised and very full. Well, what tends to happen if we say all of our ideas, everything we can say, is the ideas kind of stretch out and they aren't so good. So I recommend trying to finish your first idea at about 30 seconds, even if you've got more to say, just summarise and conclude. Then move on and do exactly the same thing again. And yeah, that's the main way to get through the body. The other benefit of this is, even if your idea is not very good, it doesn't matter if you follow this framework. You're only speaking for about 20 seconds in each point. You can't say many sentences in 20 seconds. Maybe 5, 6, maximum 6. Maybe as low as 4 if you're using long sentences. So you don't have to say very much at all. Once you've introduced your idea, you've just got to kind of add on 2 or 3 sentences, and then you'll be at the end of your time. So even if your idea is not very good, this is a great way of making it sound like your idea is good and sound like your response is organised. So let's go back to the structure then. So the first 10 seconds is going to be about rephrasing the question. Give yourself a little bit of time to think. The next stage will go until about 30 seconds. That's your first point. Then after that, we will go until about 50 seconds, until there's about 10 seconds left. That's your second point. And the final part is very easy. All you do is summarise your 2 main points. So you can say something like, so in conclusion, I like chocolate ice cream because I find strawberry ice cream and other ice creams to be too sweet, and also because chocolate is my favourite food. It's a bad answer, but it doesn't matter. It will sound organised and what we call coherent. That means it is structured in an effective way. So if you follow these steps, rephrase the question, give a first point, give a second point, and then give a short summary, just 1 sentence at the end or 2 sentences, saying what your main points are, your response is going to be organised. It sounds like you have lots of good ideas, even if you don't have good ideas, even if your ideas are quite bad. You will still be able to score high on the ideas element of the marks by following this structure. And you will be giving the examiner everything they need to give you a higher mark. So there it is. That is my framework, or the framework I like to follow for responding to DSE Speaking Part B. Okay, so we've talked about the framework. Now let's take a look at an example. I'm going to give a response to a question about selfies. Now, I'm a middle-aged man. I'm quite a grumpy old man. I don't like taking selfies. It's not a good topic for me. But it doesn't matter. I've got to answer the question. Don't take many selfies myself. My family do. My friends do, but I don't really like to do it. So yeah, it's not a good topic for me. So this is why it's a good example for us to use, because I don't have many ideas, but I'm going to show you how I can take a okay idea or a not very good idea, something I think of very quickly, and I can turn it into a stronger response. Now the question I'm about to be given is, I'll let you know first, Is it only young people who like taking selfies? No, I don't think young people are the only ones who like to take selfie. I think old people like to take them too. But there are two ideas I have about this. The first is that I think the reason we think old people don't like to take selfies so much is because they're not very good with the technology. They don't really know how to use the phones well, so they usually ask our young people to do it for them. The other thing I would say is that old people like to have active photos that everyone is involved in just as much as young people do. So I think this is why they really like to have the photos, they just don't like to take the photos. So in summary, I think that old people do like to take selfies. They like to have the pictures with their family and friends, but they don't know how to use the phones very well, so they don't take them themselves. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I didn't really have any ideas. I just was thinking of my grandmother trying to play with her phone and she can't do it, and giving me the phone and asking me to take a photo. And then I was able to turn that into an idea. But did you see how I stopped my first point, my main point, which was about old people and technology, at about 30 seconds? And I moved on straight away. I did have another sentence or so I could have said, but not much more than that. And then I just moved on to another idea. This was about old people like to have photos. It's not a very good idea. Of course, old people like to have photos. Everyone likes to have photos. But hopefully when we did the practice, it sounded like a good idea because of the structure. So hopefully you can see that if we follow this structure, even if our ideas aren't very good, we can make them sound very good, and we can make them sound very organised. So I hope this helps. I wish you all very good luck in your DSE assessments, and hopefully this can be of some help to you. Good luck.